Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. It's Laurie. I'm here for a good time. I'm not sure how long of a time, but I wanted to bring Jim with Caleb and Brown to you today. I'm here at Sundance. I was out at the film festival and skiing the last few days in Utah and just wanted to bring Jim in to share a little bit about what Caleb and Brown does, who they are, and where you can find them. When you're looking to get into cryptocurrency, a lot of people are new to this space, and I want them to know where they can go and purchase coins, where they can store coins, and a little bit about that. So Jim, if you'd maybe share a little bit about who you are and where they find you and all this good stuff.
Sure. So thank you for firstly having me on. I'll share a little bit about myself and how I got into the crypto space and what I do at Calvin Brown, and then obviously happy to talk a bit more about Calvin Brown and what we do. So as you mentioned, my name's Jim. I've been in the crypto space since 2017. I first learned about crypto through a friend. I was studying a law degree at the time and was learning all about smart contracts and the interesting components of that within the Ethereum ecosystem. And from there started to invest, and then went back and learned about Bitcoin and read the white papers and went from there. So that really sparked my interest in crypto. And from there, I've been passionate about it ever since. Previously to working at Calvin Brown, I worked at Accenture, which is a management consulting firm, and worked in the digital asset space there. So I've been in crypto for a long time, since 2017, similar to the Calvin Brown business, which has been around since 2016. And my role here at Calvin Brown is I'm the partnerships manager. So I work with all of the partnerships in our communities, similar to Laurie's, and really act as the intermediary between the community and the brokers that if you sign up and create an account with Calvin Brown, you'll end up having as part of your service here with us. So I work really closely and answer any questions and explain a lot about what we do, but also just make sure that you guys as community members of Laurie's community get the best service possible, and that if you have any issues or support questions that you can either reach out to myself or directly to your broker. So that's my role here. In terms of what we do at Calvin Brown, I'm sure a few of you in this community have heard about us before, but we're a cryptocurrency brokerage. So think of it very similarly to a share brokerage model, where if you sign up and create an account with Calvin Brown today, which is completely free to do, you'll get your own dedicated broker who's essentially there to help hold your hand throughout whatever part of the crypto journey you're in, whether you're someone that's completely new to the space and really needs that guidance from someone who's an expert, all the way to your more seasoned expert crypto investors that need us to either execute a complex trade or want to use our custodial service. We really try and service both ends of the spectrum, and really put education and consumer asset protection at the heart of everything we do. So that's a little bit about me and Calvin Brown. Laurie, depending on what you want to touch on in terms of what we do, I'm happy to explain that. I also have a little demo that I can touch on as well later.
Why don't you share a little bit? Because people, I've been in the space for about 5 years, and I've done over a dozen events sharing about cryptocurrency and what it is and where it is and how you find it. But a lot of these people coming in may not know exactly. They don't understand, like, what is a coin? They don't even know where to begin. And I know that I probably touched on some of this with Sam last time, but just for new people that are tuning in and found us today, or are watching this recording, like, there's more than just Bitcoin out there. Can you share a little bit? Like, my brother didn't understand, like, you could just buy like $20 worth of a Bitcoin, Can you share just a touch on a little bit about, like, what is a coin? Like, where do you find them? Can you maybe share a little bit about that, Jim? And again, I'm just trying to hit the newbies with this video here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, think of tokens or digital assets, as we like to refer them, as things that are built on the blockchain. So the blockchain is a sort of new age technology that allows you to process transactions online. The best way to think about crypto is it's a form of intermediary and finance between two parties that doesn't require a third party intermediary. So if you usually think about how you process transactions, you have to go through my bank, will have to negotiate with your bank. I send money through my bank to your bank. But essentially, the only way that my money gets to your bank account is through both of our bank accounts. The best way to think about crypto and what it is in a nutshell, outside of the technological advancement, is that It allows us, you and I, to do peer-to-peer transactions without needing and requiring a third-party intermediary. And that's usually done through the blockchain. So Bitcoin was the example that you gave. I can hold assets in my wallet, which stores my Bitcoin on the blockchain. I can then process a transaction that will then send it to your wallet address. It's done online, so you don't need a bank to get it done. All you need is an internet connection. A mobile does help, although you can do it through a laptop as well. But that's ultimately the one of the key benefits and ethos of crypto, is that it allows for transactions to be done without a third-party intermediary. But the way that the blockchain is created, that ensures that things are done at a trustless nature. I don't necessarily need to know you, but everything's verified on the blockchain as well. I mean, as you mentioned, you aren't required to say a Bitcoin today is worth over $105,000. You aren't required to buy a whole Bitcoin like you may have to do with a share. You're able to buy a portion of it. So say you would just want to get a $500 worth exposure to Bitcoin. You'll purchase 0.0001, whatever the amount is, and you're able to do that through Calvin Brown. You're able to do that through other platforms as well. So think of it just as simply just a different asset class, similar to, say, how you purchase shares. Obviously, there's different exposure and where the value lies in a particular token depends on the utility of it. So Bitcoin, as the example, it's thought of as a store of value. There's only a certain amount that will ever be created. So people view it as a form of digital gold. If I wanted to transfer and move out my gold to Laurie today, it's quite a difficult process as an actual physical asset. Whereas if I want to move my Bitcoin, which some in essence see as a digital form of gold, I can do so in a far easier and streamlined process. And people view it as a store of value. So there's a lot of things that we could go into. I don't want to necessarily confuse you on, but I hope that gives a little bit of an understanding of what it is.
And everybody will hear what they want to hear on these videos that I'm doing. And it's just really what my thing is I want people to realize, how they can obtain it, how they can actually go, and if they wanted to purchase something and send it to somebody, that they would have another, that end user would have a wallet. And just, realizing that what's nice about using Caleb and Brown is you actually have a physical person, as opposed to going and purchase it. I have people saying, oh, I have stuff on Coinbase, or I have stuff on PayPal. And if you ever run into an issue, you're not going to be able to get a service. You're not going to be able to get an actual person via email or on a phone with you guys. I've talked to you guys several times over the last 5 years when I've been dealing with, something as little as maybe $1,000. And I was at a time buying some cryptocurrency for a company, over $100,000 at a time. So, and transferring, hundreds of thousands of dollars in Bitcoin between some wallets. So it's really nice to have another person that can, actually lend a hand when we have an issue with a wallet or something like that. So do you want to show your a dashboard at Caleb and Brown? I think we talked about you having a sample so that people could, again, it may go over your head, but just I wanted people to know what it looks like if you were to open an account. And today you can do purchases for $250 at Caleb and Brown. It used to be $2,500, and before that it was a higher. So it's really nice that you've lowered the minimum. So if people just want to get in and they want to dabble a little bit with $250 or $300, they could maybe go and pick up 3 different coins, and you can store it in your Caleb and Brown wallet, or you could store it on Exodus. I've been a fan of Exodus. A lot of people that I know are fans of Exodus. But it's nice also when you get to a certain level of you're comfortable, when you're comfortable with it, if it's over $10,000 or $50,000, spreading those coins out over multiple wallets. I have multiple wallets, and I know a lot of people like to work with them just so that you're not having all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, when you get to a certain level of purchasing. So Jim, do you want to go ahead and just present your screen and show the dashboard?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do that in a second. I did just want to touch on some of the stuff that you mentioned, because I think it is really important, especially for people that are maybe getting into crypto for the first time and are listening to this call. But you're exactly right. Most platforms and exchanges that you'll go about actually purchasing crypto on, it's a very transactional relationship. There's not a lot of customer support. If they have a support area within their business, you're not going to get an immediate service. So we do really recommend, if you're new to this space, that's what this service is built for. We're all about creating long-term sustainable relationships with our clients. And it works really well because they can help educate you, our brokers, that is, really help get you set up and ensure that you're investing safely in the right way. Because it's one thing to make the right investment decisions, but wealth protection is really important as well. And as you mentioned, if you're not at that point where you're comfortable to do your own self-custody, that's where a service like ours works really well. And then ultimately, our brokers all the time encourage our clients, if they're comfortable, to set up their own hardware wallets, have their own custody solution. I mean, as you mentioned, have diversification. We, as a business, really value that and think that's really important as well. So when the time comes and you feel comfortable to do that, we can also help get that set up for you and help you move your assets over to your own wallet if that's what you'd like to do. But ultimately, the customer support, the level of care and service is what we do. It's what we really value as a business. And it's really important because your broker has context on who you are. What works for you is not always going to work for someone else.
Exactly.
Your risk appetite, Laurie, is completely different to someone else's risk appetite, right? Yes. So that's really important for the broker to have that context, which is really valuable in terms of the service that we offer. So as you mentioned, I'll share the dashboard now. Just for context before I share it, this is when you sign up and create an account with Calvin Brown. Yes, you get your own dedicated broker who you can call and you can email to get that trade done. But you can also do trades yourself through our portal, which I'll show in a moment here. So it'll give you the flexibility that maybe if you're not the most tech savvy individual, that you can still call or email your broker to get a trade done. But if you feel like you want to do it yourself and you want to play around in our portal, this is what I'm about to show you that you'll have the access to as well.
Well, and that's the thing is why you're pulling that up too, Jim, is I want people to realize it's safety first. You know, it's something where I always tell people, and I know I'll reiterate this all the time on my calls when I'm talking about finances, but it's like, go put in $100 or $900 or whatever it is, right? And look back in 90 days and see if you even liked doing it. And if you did, my whole thing is like, you want to keep your wallet safe from the get-go, because once you start rocking and rolling, you're busy and you're going and you're buying more coins and it's coming into your wallet. You just want to make sure that that is safe and secure, and nobody ever is going to email you and ask you for passwords or seed phrases. And that's something that when you're getting into this, I just helped my bonus niece set up her wallet. She's in her 30s. She's got 3 kids. And she's like, oh, that was easier than I thought. Like literally we're sitting here in Utah doing that just this morning. And so it didn't take long at all, and I've just taught her, I'll send you a test so you can see what it looks like before we have a lot more money coming in when you're buying some cryptos, so that and you can see that $5 test is over there and you know what that is and where it's located in your wallet and everything. So you just want to get in and play with some of the stuff. But I wanted Jim to show us a dashboard, what it looks like at Caleb and Brown, because between you and me, I just got into my dashboard in the last month or two and saw all the great stuff before I was making calls and texting and WhatsApping and you guys. And Sam, of course, was good to take care of me over all this time. So, but it's really nice to go in and go, oh, here's my receive address. I can go move some crypto over here and it's sitting there. So thank you so much, Jim. I'll go ahead and add that to the stage here. And so awesome.
Perfect. Yes, I'll give a little rundown on everything to do with our portal and dashboard. And as you mentioned, it's completely free to create an account and actually speak to a broker today. So it's not like you have to commit money to use our service. As you mentioned, if you want to do little test transactions and just get started and get your feet wet, you can totally do that as well, right? Yep. So we really recommend just having a play around and having a look at the portal. But ultimately, if this is you've signed up now, you've created an account with Calvin Brown, you'll have access to your own portal. So this will usually have your name here. This is just a test account. But as you can see here, this is the front page of your portal. So it'll show the assets that you hold with us. So right now I just hold Ethereum. For most people on this call, this will show it in US dollars. This account's denominated in AUD, which is Australian dollars, because I'm an Australian citizen over here. But you'll see at the top here, you'll see a contact broker. Now, this will be your actual broker that you have an ability to work with and contact when you want. My broker is Jake Boyle. It gives you a bit of an understanding of when he's typically online. His phone numbers, both internationally and within Australia. So All of our brokers have US numbers. So for a lot of people on the call that are based in the US, you can call them through this US number toll free. You also have access to his email address if you ever need to contact him as well. So that's really valuable and gives a bit more of a personalized touch to what we do here. You'll get to meet Jake as your broker and speak to him and get to know him. But more importantly, he'll get to know you and what your risk appetite is, what you're looking to do with us. But as I mentioned, this is the overall dashboard. It has what your assets are holding with us. It'll have a more broader view down here as well. If you do any transactions as well, you can then see what transactions have I done recently. And then you'll see on the left-hand side here, which is the navigation bar. This has all the functionality that you can do with Caleb & Brown. So we're at the portfolio section here. If I go into wallets and I click overview, this then gives me an overview of a better overview of what I'm holding. So how many units of Ethereum am I holding currently with the business? As we mentioned before, you can hold half units. So I can hold half an Ethereum. I don't need to have one Ethereum or one Bitcoin. It gives me the price of today, as well as the available balance that I have. So yes, the price of Ethereum is 5,000 Australian dollars, but I hold just under half of that. So that's the overview section. The deposit crypto section is if, say, Laura, you had assets on one of your wallets that you mentioned before, and you wanted to move, say, XRP from that wallet to Caleb & Brown, you would come into the deposit crypto section. You click on XRP, for example. Let's say that's the asset you held. It will then provide you either you have to contact your broker directly to get the deposit address, but usually what it will do here is actually provide you with a wallet address that you can then send your assets to. In this scenario, because this is a test account, it doesn't actually do that.
Yeah, mine, it shows the address.
Yeah, in most scenarios, it'll show you an address and instructions on how to move those assets over.
And again, even when I'm sending over to anybody, I always have been taught by Renita 5 years ago to send a test. So I'll send $5 worth of crypto to any wallet first before I send over, $100 or $20,000 in crypto over to a certain wallet. I always send a test. I always take my time and do it properly. You don't want to do any of your crypto stuff when you're tired, sick, any of that. Just wait until you're doing well, because you need to have your head about you, because you're the only one who knows what you're doing with your cryptocurrency in your wallets.
Absolutely. All of our brokers will recommend, especially for first-time users, to do test transactions. You're exactly right. It's a very good security practice that I do in my day-to-day with my own wallets, right? Mm-hmm. The other thing with this is if it does seem a little daunting and you're not sure about wallet addresses and where I'm moving where, that is where you can call your broker, and your broker will actually help you transfer these assets over as well, right? So obviously we like to educate our clients and ensure that they can do this themselves one day.
Yes.
But as we mentioned before, if you're completely new to this space, this is part of the process and the support that our brokers provide. If you have assets on a Coinbase or another exchange and you want to move them over, we will help you do that and ensure that things are done safely.
And that's the thing. The more you play with this, you guys, the more you will get comfortable with it. It's kind of like I'm here at my friend's house in Sundance, Utah, and the clickers to the television are different, right? Luckily, the thermostat, I have the same one at home, but everybody, even light switches are different. So don't feel stupid. There's not a bad question that you can ask your broker. It's just the more you do it, the more you're going to know what it is and be more comfortable with it. It's one of those things. You have to just get used to doing it, and doing it with small amounts of money at first, so that you know what's happening. And then you can see, once you've transferred over that test into your Caleb & Brown wallet or into your Exodus or whatever wallet, you'll see that test come through, and then you can go ahead and send the rest. It's such a good feeling that you get your crypto over in your wallet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all started at some point, right? Like it does seem maybe a little daunting to get started, but as you mentioned, it is quite intuitive, and we've made this platform quite simple in a way that allows people to easily follow and be able to do transactions through us. But as you mentioned, there's no silly questions at all. Our brokers speak to a lot of new beginners in this space that are just getting started. So There's no dumb questions, especially in the crypto space, because it is complex. So I still make mistakes, and I've been in this space since 2017. So that's what the brokers are there for. That's what our support team is there for as well.
Thank you.
I'll go through the rest of this and try and keep it go a little faster. But so deposit crypto is really where you already have crypto and you want to move it and deposit it into Calvin Brown. Now, deposit fiat. Fiat is really just like financial currency, so US dollars, Australian dollars. If you want to actually buy crypto through your bank account, for example, at this stage, we only allow for fiat transactions through bank wires. So in this scenario, you would come into the deposit fiat section, you'd click on the relevant currency. In this situation, it's most likely going to be US dollars. And then it will actually provide our bank details and some instructions in terms of how to actually move your assets from your bank account to your Calvin Brown account. It's quite a simple process, but this is where the brokers can help assist you with this as well. You would put in these details, you'd send a bank wire transfer over, and then that would hit your account within, say, 1 to 2 business days, depending on the bank. You would then have US dollars within your Calvin Brown portal, and then you can either buy crypto with that, you can contact your broker and have a chat about what you want to buy, and really you can go from there. But it's quite a simple process to actually move your US dollars into your Calvin Brown account. Manage addresses. So this is where if you have a wallet address that you want to transfer your assets over. So as we mentioned a little time before this, that sometimes you want to create an account with us and maybe trade, but you may have your own wallet that you actually want to move your assets to. This is where you would add a new address. So you would add your wallet, you'd select the currency of your wallet, you would input it within this section. And then when the time comes to actually withdraw to your bank account or withdraw to your wallet, you'll be able to do so within the wallet address within this section. So you can see here, I have a few different Ethereum wallets that are verified. I also have a Bitcoin wallet. So if I wanted to move my half an Ethereum into one of these wallets, I'll be able to do that because I've now verified my wallet address. So that's everything to do with the wallets. I'll try and breeze through this now quickly, but say now I wanted to trade that Ethereum that I have. So I have half an Ethereum, and say I want to trade that into Bitcoin. I really like Bitcoin as an asset. I want to get some more diversification. This is where then you can come in. I can maybe trade a portion of my ETH. That will do the calculation. So that will pull through and get you the best rate possible. And then I can place the order. It shows how much I'm getting in terms of the amount of Bitcoin. So in this scenario, I'd be earning 520 Australian dollars of Bitcoin, and it would allow you to do that swap. So this is the scenario where you could do it yourself in the portal. But again, if I wanted to email my broker and say, hey, Jake, can you please trade 0.1 worth of Ethereum into Bitcoin? You can email your broker that, and they will process the transaction on your behalf, and you'll get all the relevant confirmations.
And so with regards to that, Jim, too, just so people are aware, when you go to purchase crypto from you, sell your crypto, or trade your crypto, it's the 3.5% brokerage fee, correct? On the amount?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. So we charge a 3.5% fee on a buy, sell, or swap. We don't charge anything when it comes to then actually withdrawing that to your bank account once you want to exit the crypto space.
Okay. Thank you.
And in this scenario, if I did want to do that, Laurie, I would, instead of going to Bitcoin, I can actually sell it into US dollars. So I could decide to, you know what, I've done really well with my Ethereum. I've now decided that actually I want to sell this into US dollars and eventually withdraw it into my bank account. I could do that transaction. I could place the order and get US dollars, so fiat, as we mentioned before. Mm-hmm. And then I would contact my broker to actually withdraw that to my US bank account.
Okay, thank you.
There are a few other functionalities and things that you can do on the portal. So there's things like target orders. I wouldn't worry too much about this until you're a bit more experienced in the space. But what this essentially is it'll sell my Ethereum at a certain price or buy an asset at a certain price. If I think that Ethereum's going to hit a certain amount and I want it to automatically execute a trade, I can do that through target orders. I can also do dollar cost average. So say I want to buy $100 worth of Bitcoin each week, I can set this up in my portal as well. Again, though, this is a bit more on the advanced and experienced side, so I wouldn't worry about this too much. And then there's other, more so just things like if you want to get transaction reports for your tax, you can do so within this transaction section. We also have an overview of all assets. So say you want to find a specific asset that maybe isn't one of the majors like Bitcoin or Ethereum, you can come in here and you can search for the asset. So say I want to search for Peak, for example. Okay, great. That means that Caleb Brown listed. I can then have a look at, okay, what's the price performance of it? How has it been doing over a long period of time? And really do a bit more analysis. Again, this is more so for the experienced investors, but this is nice to know that this exists. And then the other really valuable thing, and then I'll stop sharing my screen, is we have a research section. So this is really beneficial for people that are quite new to the space that maybe are really interested and want to learn more. We try and constantly update and educate our clients with research reports. So you can come into the research section of your portal and you can actually read through some of our reports around what we're seeing in the market. There are certain narratives and trends that we're seeing that are quite innovative and interesting in the crypto space. So things like real world assets, AI and how that impacts crypto, even things like DeFi platforms, right? So this allows you to come in here, you can click on this, it'll download it for you, and then you can have a read of our analysis. So that's everything to do with the portal. I hope that was clear enough, but happy to answer any questions or anything that I may have missed, Laurie, as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And I wanted to keep this around 30 or so minutes today. So I just, I think that's really helpful for people to see that. You're not going to see that if you're going to purchase over at another, coin market, or Coinbase or PayPal or some of the other places where you're going. And their fees can even be 5% or something like that, or something crazy, right? So I've got Jim's email here. If he said, please, if you have any questions, go ahead and email him and let him know that you watched this show today so that he knows what you were talking about or had a question on what was pertaining to. But I appreciate your time so much. And again, it's really getting people just dipping their toe in the water, so to speak, to go and buy some crypto. And I liked what you said. I got in 5 years ago. I've sold crypto when I got my new car in about 3.5 years ago. And I just got my daughter's newer cars for Christmas. So I sold some HBAR because I like 5x'd in a week. And so I took some profits and I bought that. But you really are getting into this for the long term, or even just put a year on it that you're going to just sit tight. You're not going to be looking at trading. I barely look at trading. Like I don't really, unless there's another coin that I want to get and I see one that I'm kind of like, I want to get out of that. And the other thing too is you want to just hold on to if you're just getting into this, get 1, 2, 3 coins over 90 days and look back and see if you're interested in doing this. But some people go crazy and they hear all these stories and then they're going and buying 20 coins and you're trying to manage that. Let me just say it's too much for the normal person if you're just getting into it. Maybe in a year or two. Not if you want to just study this 8 hours a day and that's all you want to do, fine, go have at it. But to just kind of keep a little bit of a lid on it and to not be stressful, I would recommend 1 to 3 coins at the get-go and just starting off with that. And look back at it and see if you were interested. And then if you did like doing it, I started off taking 10% of my income 5 years ago and purchasing monthly. Like that's how I got into where I'm at today. And I just am so grateful that I did. And Jim, I'm so grateful for your time today. I'd love to get you back here in a week or two. I'm going to the Amazon in a couple of weeks, but I would love to get you back and share a little bit about things that you're seeing in the marketplace. And, some of those other things now that we've kind of done this intro on what Caleb and Brown is, what you can do for them. And now just some of your expertise, because you guys are living in this every day, 24/7, and have your finger totally on the pulse of what's happening in crypto. So I so appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for having me on. As I mentioned, people can sign up today for free and just try and speak to a broker today and see if it works for them. Yep. Maybe we'll include Laurie's link as well in the description, or they can ask for it to ensure that they're a part of your community. Yep. Yeah, thank you for having me on. I look forward to a few more chats in the future.
Thank you so much. And thanks. I know it's early in the morning in Melbourne, and I appreciate your time so much today.
Thank you. See you later. Bye.